The alarm rang, but Arjun didn't wake up. He lay staring at the ceiling, eyes open, thoughts silent. For the first time in years, the silence wasn't peaceful. It was hollow, an emptiness that gnawed at his insides. Today marked 3 years since he had last spoken to his brother, Arif. 3 years since they fought. 3 years since Arif's accident. Arjun was once an ambitious young man, driven by his dreams of building a name in the corporate world. But the truth was, he had been running from responsibility, from family, from pain. He'd moved to Mumbai to chase success, while his elder brother stayed back in their small town, taking care of their ailing mother and the crumbling family shop. They had different definitions of success. Arjun wanted skyscrapers. Arif wanted stability. One evening, during a phone call, they had argued. Arif had asked for help, money to fix the roof of the shop, support for their mother's treatment. Arjun had snapped, said things he regretted. "I'm not your ATM. You chose to stay back. Don't make your failures my burden." That was the last time they spoke. 2 months later, Arif was gone, a hit-and-run case. Arjun hadn't even attended the funeral. Work had been too important. He buried himself in meetings, deadlines, and weekend networking parties, all the while dying a little inside. The guilt festered in silence. Eventually, the company he worked for downsized. His role became redundant. No job, no family, no peace. Arjun moved back to his hometown, not because he wanted to, but because he had nowhere else to go. The shop was still there, abandoned and dust-covered, like an old photograph no one remembered to look at. His mother had passed a year after Arif, her spirit dimmed by the loss of her eldest son. Arjun felt like a ghost walking through the ruins of his own past. One rainy evening, while cleaning the shop, Arjun found an old notebook of Arif's. It wasn't a ledger. It was a journal. Inside were entries filled with dreams, plans to convert the shop into a community bookstore and cafe, sketches of shelves, notes about including local school kids in reading programs. Arif had wanted to bring learning and literature to their town. He even had names written down of kids who didn't have access to books. He was building something with love. Arjun had never known. That night, Arjun cried for hours, not just for his brother, but for the years he had wasted chasing approval from strangers while ignoring the one man who gave him unconditional love. He felt broken beyond repair. The kind of broken that made you question whether getting up was worth it. But sometimes, rock bottom is a solid foundation. The next morning, he woke up with a resolve. He didn't know if he deserved a second chance, but he was going to try. He started cleaning the shop one cobweb at a time. He pulled out Arif's journal and used it as a blueprint. Days turned into weeks. He sold his car, his expensive watch, and used every last rupee to rebuild the shop. The villagers were skeptical at first. Who opens a bookstore in a digital world? But Arjun didn't care. This wasn't about business. It was about redemption. He named it Arif's Corner. The cafe sold chai and old-school snacks. The bookstore offered free memberships to students. A corner of the shop had beanbags, where children could read without being asked to buy. Arjun started organizing weekend storytelling sessions. He invited elders from the village to come and share stories from their youth. Slowly, the place became more than a shop. It became a heartbeat. One afternoon, a girl named Tara walked in. She was 14, wearing a school uniform with torn sandals. She sat quietly and read every day. Arjun noticed her hunger for learning. One evening, she asked, "Do you think someone like me could become a doctor?" Arjun looked at her and saw his younger self. Dreaming, doubting, wanted to break free. "Of course," he said, "and I'll help you." From that day forward, Arjun began mentoring Tara. He didn't have much, but he had knowledge and time. She studied after school in the cafe. He helped with science, math, and gave her Arif's old notebooks to practice English. 1 turned into 5. Soon, there were a dozen students. He converted the back room of the shop into a study center. Volunteers joined. Retired teachers from the village offered their services. A year later, Tara topped her district in board exams. When she received her scholarship letter, she ran to the shop, eyes wide, heart full. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, she said. Arjun smiled. That's what someone once did for me. Now it's your turn to do it for others. The shop started making headlines. A popular blogger stumbled upon it during a road trip and wrote an article titled, "The Bookstore That Heals Souls." The story went viral. Donations poured in. An NGO partnered with them to open more centers in nearby villages. Arjun still refused a salary. He lived in a small room above the shop and used every penny for expansion. He often sat by R's photo, talking to him silently. You were right, bye. True success is what you leave behind in people, not what you collect in your bank. Years passed. Arjun never became rich in money, but he became wealthy in the most profound way, through lives he touched. One day, Tara, now in medical college, returned to the village. She had brought along a friend, a boy from Mumbai who was lost in depression. She told Arjun, he needs what I got here, hope. Arjun sat with the boy, listened to his silence, gave him space, and when the boy finally spoke, Arjun said only this: your past is not your sentence. It's your strength. The boy stayed for a month, then another. Eventually, he found his passion in painting. He painted the entire cafe wall with a mural of Arif, surrounded by children, books, and stars. That wall became a landmark. People came from nearby towns just to see it, to feel it. It wasn't just art. It was a reminder that one man's brokenness had become another's bridge. On the 10th anniversary of R's death, Arjun stood before a crowd of hundreds. Students, parents, teachers, all gathered. Tara spoke first. Then came others. Each shared what R's corner had meant to them. When it was Arjun's turn, he held back tears and said, I once believed I had nothing left. That life had taken everything. But I was wrong. Life gave me a second chance, disguised as guilt wrapped in pain. It taught me that healing is not forgetting. Healing is remembering with purpose. My brother is gone, but his dream lives. And through it, I live again too. The crowd stood in silence, then erupted in applause, not for speech, but for the truth they all felt deep in their bones. As the sun set that evening, a soft breeze danced through the trees, and it almost felt like Arv was there, smiling quietly, proud. Because in the end, the greatest stories are not about those who never fell. They're about those who fell, shattered, and still chose to rise again.